Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch of Crime Talk. Today we have case updates. First, singer R. Kelly gets caught with his pants down. Will El Chapo get a redo? California pays a $21 million settlement for wrongfully convicting a man. Savannah Spurlock, the missing mother in Kentucky, is still missing. And the authorities in the Kelsey Barrett case go digging. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch of Crime Talk. Thank you for watching. If you like the channel, please subscribe. If you would like to leave a comment, please do so. And hit that little bell and you'll get notifications of when the next video comes out. So first, we are coming to you from our new studios here in Denver, Colorado. We're not completely set up, but I wanted to get a video out to you all. I appreciate you watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you. None of this is possible without you. So first on the docket this evening is R. Kelly, singer R. Kelly. Now, Mr. Kelly gets caught with his pants down yet again. Now, these charges have been filed in Chicago, Illinois, and Mr. Kelly had $1 million bond and was apparently able to post a $100,000 bond to secure his release. This goes back to allegations over some 12 years where Mr. Kelly likes to party and get caught with his pants down with young ladies, usually between the age of 14 to 16. Now, I understand sometimes people have their type, so to speak, but Mr. Kelly needs to figure out that his type needs to be over the age of 18 and doesn't involve teenage girls. I just don't get it, but Mr. Kelly has been in precarious circumstances like this before. We'll see if he can do it again. The next item on the docket is El Chapo. As you all may know, El Chapo was the leader of the leading Mexican drug cartels who was responsible for bringing most of the drugs into the United States over the last several decades. He was able to escape from Mexican prisons multiple times. Certainly helps when you can pay off individuals in those facilities and help you build an escape tunnel and send you on your way. But ultimately, El Chapo was brought to the United States, probably because he embarrassed so many people in Mexico by the escapes that he has done, and therefore he was tried. After a lengthy trial in New York City, he was convicted. And like all good stories, just when you think the case is over and the matter will simply go to sentencing, but wait, there's more. What happens? A juror apparently sends an email to Vice.com and says that there's juror misconduct in this particular case. And it alleges that the jury deliberations took some 6 days, and that probably wouldn't have taken so long, but there was a stubborn holdout. And what this juror was concerned about was that if Mr. Guzman, a.k.a. El Chapo, was sentenced, he would more than likely would be sentenced to the Supermax facility down here, actually in Canyon City, Colorado, and the jurors were concerned that what his living conditions would be like. Now, there's going to be a very difficult road for the defense. First of all, yes, jurors are not supposed to be consulting outside reference materials of any kind. They're not supposed to have any outside influences. The jurors get to make their decision based upon the legal and competent evidence that is presented in court. That's it. They don't get to go do their own research. They don't get to be concerned about sentencing. That is not a matter of their concern in federal court. Some states, the jurors actually do the sentencing. When I was in the military, and still takes place, jurors can do the sentencing. You can have no punishment, the conviction itself being punishment enough, or all the way up to the maximum penalty. But in federal court, jurors have no concern about that. So it's going to be very difficult for the defense to get over this burden to show that there was some outside influence and really that it even made a difference whatsoever. So, El Chapo, he probably is buying his time, has a little more time before his next escape. That'll be curious to see what happens. I don't care where you are. If you have enough money, life will be more comfortable for you. And he certainly has a lot of it. I believe last I saw he would be one of the richest men in the world if he was able to put all his money into bank accounts. And jurors, just quickly. Jurors. It's a true story. There was a case, I believe it was in Florida several years ago. A man was sitting on a simple DUI trial, and this juror at the end of the day thought it would be a good idea to see if it was truly possible for the defendant that was on trial to for the events to have taken place. So he went to the same bar, drank the same amount of alcohol, and tried to drive the same route home to see if it was possible. And guess what? He ultimately got stopped for a DUI. Jurors cannot be investigators. They're not investigators. They're simply there to listen to the facts and apply the facts to the law given to them. Nothing more, nothing less. So the next thing on the docket we want to talk about tonight is California. A Simi Valley, which is obviously a city in California, is going to pay $21 million to settle a claim by a man who spent 39 years in prison for a crime that he did not commit. 40 years, 39 to be exact. 39 years in custody for a crime he didn't commit. Is $21 million enough? It may be a good start. And although the world seems to be talking about the settlement of $21 million, it would seem to be the greater issue that should be talked about here is what happened. All right, this gentleman, Craig Cooley, Cooley, was convicted of murdering Rhonda Witch and her 4-year-old son 39 years ago, and he's been exonerated. What in the hell happened that this man was convicted? Yes, I understand DNA cleared him and exonerated him. But the bigger issue should be, how did this happen? What was the evidence? Was it identification, witness identification? Was it snitch witness, confessions? Well, actually, in this particular case, it was false confessions. But how did somebody let that happen? There has to be a check on these people so that people are not wrongfully convicted. 39 years. I'm going to be 50 here real soon. Could you imagine the better part of your life in custody for something you didn't do? Absolute horror. That's what our system was trying to prevent by having the burden of proof so high and having a jury system where you have to convince 12 people. 12 people. Be curious to see if any jurors come forward and see what they have to say about it. Another case we want to talk about on the dock tonight is out of Philadelphia. A woman by the name of Shanna Decree and her daughter Dominique, who is 19 years old, killed everyone inside of their apartment by strangulation. And it was all family members. And apparently both the mom and the daughter said that everyone wanted to die in the room, and apparently they decided to take care of it. Unbelievable. First of all, what in the hell were they thinking? 2, strangulation. Is this like a murder-suicide? They're strangling each other, and then they realize they're going to strangle themselves? It makes no sense. And these women, the mother and daughter, both have confessed. And so, fortunately, they're locked up and they won't be able to do any harm. It's just sad that we have more people now that are obviously deceased at their hand who nothing, for no good or apparent reason other than, who knows, probably drugs and alcohol were involved. And I don't want to sound like a teetotaler, but you got to be kidding me. Really, people? Now, we had talked about this story previously. A young mother by the name Savannah Spurlock, who lives in Richmond, Kentucky, was last seen on January 2nd leaving a bar with two gentlemen, and she has not been seen since. Her phone went dead the following morning, and no one has seen her since. And the two men, along with another who apparently were with her, have been interviewed, apparently cooperating, although we don't know the extent of that cooperation. All three of them deny any involvement whatsoever. I really hope, for the family's sake, that they find Miss Spurlock and people are brought to justice. Now, also, I want to talk briefly about the Kelsey Barrett case, as there was a news story this morning that authorities had obtained a warrant and were going to go search a landfill for, they believe to be the remains, is what I read and what was being reported, which I thought was somewhat unusual because I thought that the remains of Ms. Barrett, if you were to believe Miss Kenny's statements, were all incinerated in this huge fire that took place on the ranch that she helped start. So a little curious about that, what they expect to find. Maybe it'll be charred remains, maybe it'll be this black tote that we're looking for in that particular case. But I thought the mystery had been solved by Miss Kenny cooperating, so apparently there may be more to this story. Now, one more thing that we need to bring to you this evening is the dumb criminal of the week. First contestants today are actually a couple, Mr. Zachary Mullendick and Krista Lay. They were both arrested for stealing jewelry, and they were allowed to be put in the same police car, and apparently were not handcuffed and were given an opportunity to have a smoke, a cigarette that is. And once the prisoners were ultimately brought to the police station, it was determined that perhaps they had each been pleasuring each other in the back of the patrol car. And the officer that allowed this to take place in his police car was put on administrative leave. I guess this is truly a case of sticky fingers. The next case is kind of tragic, but it makes you wonder, what were police officers doing, because they're supposed to be the adults in the room? Well, apparently in St. Louis, 3 police officers were together, and a young police officer by the name of Caitlin Alex, who was an Army veteran and had been on the police force for just a short amount of time, over 2 years, were playing a game. And apparently this game was a modified version of Russian roulette, whereby they would point the gun at each other in the chest and thereby shooting, pulling the trigger, and seeing if someone were to die. It's the game of Russian roulette. And an officer, Nathaniel Hendren, who's 29, has been charged with involuntary manslaughter because of his actions on this particular day. What were they thinking? Just stupid. And the sad thing is that someone lost their life because of it. Now, the next 2 contestants have sort of a social media thing. Let's talk first about a Tennessee man. And this Tennessee man by the name of Mr. Howard Webb. Howard Webb delivers food for local restaurants. And Mr. Webb, who was going back to a customer's house to deliver some food, and apparently this person was a low tipper. In fact, only left 89 cents for the last tip after a 30-minute drive. And what Mr. Webb tried to do, or did, and he photographed it, was he dipped his testicles into the food, the hot sauce of this patron. And then wait, instead of doing that first stupid thing, he then decided, let's send it to somebody so they can put it on Facebook, where ultimately he gets charged. And what's, I guess, probably even more disappointing for Mr. Webb is that he cannot make the $45,000 bail for the felony charge of adulteration of foods. once again, the social media theme. We have a young South Carolinian who goes by the name of Caitlin Hardy. And apparently Miss Hardy was a little tired after a young child, her 9-month-old daughter, had cried throughout the evening. So when the child finally fell asleep in the morning, what did she do? Douse the child with water. One time? Oh, no, no, no. Twice. But what's even better? Once again. Let's take a video of it and put it on the internet, whereby the world can see what a horrible person and horrible mother Miss Hardy is. And in fact, Miss Hardy has been arrested for child abuse. So Miss Hardy not only put this on the internet with the caption of "This is what you get when you keep me up all night," she was smart enough to get herself charged with child abuse. And now, not only can her child know forever, the rest of the world still gets to know what a terrible human being and mother she is. And our final contestant, Samantha Hernandez, a young woman from Florida. Miss Hernandez was apparently quite upset that her fiancé would not have sexual relations with her. And when the police arrived, she was naked, kind of naked and afraid, I guess, although the fiancé wasn't charged with anything. Miss Hernandez was, in fact, naked. She managed to get herself arrested, she being upset because her fiancé wouldn't have sex with her. But wait, there's more. She gets felony charges because while she's getting put in the police car, handcuffed, she decided to spit on a police officer and is now charged with a felony. You can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. You can't make this stuff up. Although in Miss Hernandez's defense, she has no memory of it due to extreme intoxication. So, it is always tough and difficult to decide the dumb criminal of the week. But I believe that this week it goes to, and well-deserved so, to Mr. Howard Webb, the testicle-dipping delivery guy. He, still in custody for a little prank over 89 cents. Can you imagine his attorney's sentencing statement or that conversation when his attorney shows up to him? So let me guess. You did this for 89 cents. Was it worth it? I'd be curious to see what Mr. Webb had to say. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this edition of Crime Talk. As always, we do appreciate you watching. Please like, please subscribe, please hit that little bell, and we appreciate you watching. We know there are lots of channels out there. Hopefully we provide something better than everybody else. At least that's our goal. Have a great day.